We have come to understand, and I think that this is one of the benefits of research on violence against women, that sexual assault continues to be a serious issue facing women and girls. And so, and gender-based violence in general. So the fact that we, after so many years of reforms and attempts to ameliorate some of the issues, that we're still confronted with many people not reporting, the criminal justice system not being responsive, or delayed responses. And so I think we need to continue to move in the direction of, trying to understand what those issues are and how we can address those issues. So I think that's, one area that continues to be an issue for women and girls. And I think some of the recent attention to sexual assault on campus shows that, context matters and how institutions respond matters. And we need to be aware of how sexual assaults are treated within an institutional context. So I think that will be an important future direction for understanding this issue. Another challenge, I think, for women and girls is really trying to understand the ways that we can best address the multiple needs of women who become involved in the criminal justice system, whether it be as victims or offenders. So very often these women and children have histories of trauma, abuse, substance abuse, and mental health issues. And so I think very often we conduct research in a vacuum. So we're maybe good at finding ways to address one of these needs, but not necessarily looking at the spectrum of needs that women may have in trying to either reintegrate into society or needing help managing their families while dealing with the substance abuse issue, and even housing. Homelessness is, domestic violence, is one of the leading causes of homelessness among women. And so some of my research has investigated the impact of economic stressors on domestic violence and looking at some of the recent economic trends. One of the studies that I've done looked at the impact of mortgage foreclosures on incidents of domestic violence reported to the police, and found that as a community's foreclosure rate increases, so does the level of domestic violence. So some of those issues call for a lot of integration of services. So you have housing advocates, you have legal advocates, and you have victim advocates. So how do they work together and not duplicate resources, but really have some kind of synergy for providing those services to women?
Girls and women and children, and all of us, really all men and women, face the challenges of the fact that we still see where women and children are sexually abused, physically abused, and although there have been some steps taken to address those issues, that there's still so much more to do. And so it really requires the entire community pulling together to change this. I think we have made a lot of progress in our society at large in terms of understanding somewhat the nature and the extent of the problem of sexual violence, violence against women. We now hear about it in the media. You have the NFL, you have other instances where this comes to our attention. And so we have made progress in awareness about it. But there's still misconceptions about who victims are, who might have asked for it, who might be someone who you're not going to pay as much attention to. And so a lot needs to be done to help educate people about the fact that anyone can be a victim of sexual assault. They could be a very young infant or a 97-year-old woman. They can be rich, poor, pretty, ugly, and so by someone's standards. And then, so we need to help people understand more about the victimization experience, and that there's all types of victims.